Guys, actually mind-blowing stuff. The prison of the primal Incarnates is the exact same thing as the Last Titan logo, the finale of this saga, an elemental prison, and we recently had hints that Azeroth is actually elemental. Incarnates were asleep inside this prison, much like Azeroth, meaning she might not even be this baby at all, but instead is an ancient imprisoned being inside this worldwide prison. Runes on the prison ring seem like domination magic that Primus created, and remember who is the old ally of Primus that gave him his powers of reversing time? Aman'thul, the lead titan guy that might have actually sealed this prison. Sylvanas literally told us this world is a prison, and it is likely Sargeras tried to break this prison as well recently. This is why we have the sword of Sargeras in the war within. He might not have been the crazy guy we thought he was. He might have been against the Titan plan of imprisoning this world, and he resorted to taking Fel to be able to be powerful enough to confront him. I know, crazy stuff, but stay with me here as this really is mind-boggling when you really dig deep into the info and then connect it with the old hints, as this might just be that vast conspiracy we are going to uncover. If you're struggling with universal bosses, PvP or Mythic Plus and are not sure how to advance, getting a coach might help you a lot. SkyCoach.gg will match you with pros from the top 100 guilds who can teach you everything about your class, what add-ons to use, how to manage abilities, how to manage cooldowns, as well as tactics, so you can master your class and dominate in both PvP and PvE. SkyCoach can save you a lot of time, and they also offer coaching for Diablo, Destiny, FIFA, Call of Duty, and more. Click on the link in the description, get a special discount at SkyCoach.gg, and start winning today. I'm a little late to this party, as this has been a theory that the community has discussed pretty much since the announcement, but damn, this might just be the craziest lore party ever, like literally some of the craziest lore in the past decade. While we are of course speculating, it can go many ways, there is 100% without a doubt something going on here. This isn't just a random hint, and we may be onto the vast conspiracy that Chris Metzen has talked about when he announced the World Soul Saga. So, to get you up to the lore, we actually have absolutely zero idea who Azeroth is. Like, there is not a single bit of 100% concrete information what Azeroth is. We of course have multiple biased sources. The entire nascent Titan Soul thing that everyone knows about came with the Chronicle like a decade ago, where we were told Azeroth is a sleeping baby Titan that the Titans have been nurturing so she can awaken and help them order the entire universe. But literally every single bit of info has confirmed to us that Chronicle is not only not canon, but it is legit just Titan propaganda. Now, recent Dragonfight information, which could be more accurate, has given us some hints that Azeroth is actually elemental in nature, fake hints that she isn't a Titan and that she's like this neutral force, as elementals are native to most planets. Now, this is just a foreshadowing, but here is where things get insanely interesting. So, when we got the World Soul Saga logos, people came to this crazy realization, which I'm 100% behind, by the way, and that is that the prison of the elemental dragons, the primal Incarnates, is literally the exact same thing as the logo for the Last Titan, the finale of the World Soul Saga. Like, it's not even a maybe, who knows, could be. I mean, just put the two pictures side by side, look closely, and you will see that this is it. The ring with the runes are there, it is even the exact same prison shape, and even the little notches in the ring with the runes are the exact same thing. Like, this is 100% without a doubt an actual picture of a prison. Here is why I think this is super relevant. Primal Incarnates are, as we know, natural beings of Azeroth. This is the first prison of a super powerful elemental being that we had seen that was created by Titan beings. If Azeroth is elemental in nature, I mean, this is literally the exact same prison, just on a much smaller scale. I mean, keep in mind, Azeroth was imprisoned by the Titans thousands, like ages ago. These prisons would come much later, so they only kinda repurposed the same designs for these little guys. However, when you start examining and like looking at other things, and you get deep, things start to get super mind-boggling. First of all, check out this explosion of Farak's prison and then compare it with the whispers we get of the World Soul from the new cinematic. I mean, keep in mind, Farak is a fire elemental. Azeroth may be imprisoned in the core of the planet, which, if we go by that logic, that is fire. Even the logo of the War Within is a fire. Another interesting observation the community noticed is in regards to the three logos of the World Soul Saga, and this is crazy stuff as well. The first expansion shows us like how all of this is cracking, but like slowly cracking at the edges. stages. Then in Midnight it is fully cracked but corrupted by the void, however in a lot worse shape. And then we get to the last Titan, which is like this pristine shape, like completely untouched shape that looks like a prison. Honestly, I think these two are layers we're going to go through until we dig deep and reach the actual prison. Now of course this is just the start, things get even crazier, and the entire Sargeras thing starts to actually make sense when you look at it from this angle. He might not have wanted to kill Azeroth, he might have wanted to break this prison. He didn't want to wipe out the world in some foolish crusade. Keep in mind, all of this is info that the Titans have told us. It is very likely he wasn't in on this plan of imprisoning it. He wanted to get rid of the prison, but he couldn't go alone against the whole Pantheon, so he decided to turn to the dark powers of the Fel that he was so experienced with as a champion of the Pantheon. So he used this power to be able to stand against the Pantheon, and he actually defeated him. Now with this, a whole world of new opportunity arises with this realization just from the logo itself. Check this out. Sylvanas starts talking to us like a few years back how this world is a prison, which we all thought was like a complete joke and just stupid at the time, like just some thing that Blizzard didn't even think about. Even more interestingly, these runes of the prison seem to be related to domination magic, which make this even more confusing and even more mind-boggling. Now before I go crazy on this, let's cover this super interesting observation someone on Reddit noticed. There is this Sphere of Azeroth with 3 rings that we have from Karazhan, with one of them having runes, just like the last Titan logo, while the other rings don't have any runes. What if Sargeras broke one of the rings with his sword, Sylvanas the other when she destroyed the Lich King, and we only got one more remaining that is holding Azeroth. Now the prison is weak, and this is why Azeroth is actually speaking to all of us now, and why the Dragon Isles suddenly awoke out of nowhere. I know this sounds crazy, but what if it's possible that the Titans created this prison through the other cosmological forces? Remember the old presumed alliance between Aman'thul and Primus, where Aman'thul helped him become this super powerful being by reversing time and seeing what happened in the past? Domination magic was literally originated by Primus in the Death Realm. Was this a barter where Aman'thul came to the Shadowlands, exchanged his own power to get domination magic in order to create one of the seals on Azeroth? Literally, it all starts to make sense if it really is the case. I mean, I've always wondered, like, why was Aman'thul in any way connected to the Shadowlands? It made zero sense at the time, and it still does with the currently available lore. Even more interestingly, Blizzard recently started painting Aman'thul as the lead evil figure in 10.2 documents, as we can discover that he ripped out the first world tree on Azeroth that we just learned about. Now, so well must have known about this and the true nature of Azeroth, which is why he wanted to harness his essence, like he knew what was really going on. However, before we start making sense out of all this stuff, let's discuss, like, why would the Titans even want to imprison Azeroth? Like, why would they create a prison on an entire world? First of all, we must focus on the Shadowlands and the Dragonflight documents, as they're the most recent and the most accurate. Shadowlands document say that the Titans are the pretenders of the first ones, and the latter indicate that the Titans very likely might not even originate from the world souls of planets, as they told us, but instead they would have been created within Zereth Ordis, much like how the Eternal Ones were created in Zereth Mortis by the first one. So they have absolutely nothing to do with world souls. That is like just a story they told us. So first of all, at this point, it's like 95% likely that Azeroth is not a Titan and might not even be Ness, and it might just be this ancient being they had imprisoned. Think about like how the primal incarnate prisons work, which seem like the same thing just on a smaller scale. The primal incarnates were asleep. They said they heard everything, as we are not told Alexstrasza, but they were completely asleep. Based on this logic, the Titans literally put this being Azeroth to sleep, and as the prison started breaking recently, she is now awakening. She's whispering to us in like this half sleep, but she heard everything that happened just as she was put to sleep. Now let's dig even deeper. So in Shadowlands, we were told that 6 cosmological forces exist that constantly battled each other. The first ones came in as the 7th one created this neat little order that has kinda kept everything at bay. Now here things start to just get incredibly confusing. Remember, we have the 2 cosmological charts, most importantly the more relevant one from the Shadowlands that is a lot less Titan biased. Azeroth is always in the middle, and it seems like she is behind this entire artificial cycle, the life and death and everything that is going on. Azeroth seems to be holding all the entire universe together, it is implied that the first ones disappeared at some point and that the Titans are like the first one role players. They just kinda like order, but they're not the actual first ones that actually create order. This artificial cycle and order, when you think about it, actually suits the Titans despite not being a natural occurrence. They want this to be a thing because if the structure is destroyed, everything just kinda goes into chaos. So they might have decided to create a crazy prison over this planet, a whole bunch of their bases, a whole bunch of protectors and everything so that no one can destroy it, because if it was just left in the open, the Void would invade as they did and every other force. The Void wants to get rid of it, Death wants to get rid of it as chaos suits these forces. So then the Titans decide to create a pact. Like some parts of Death, like Primus, even though chaotic, may realize that this works better than endless chaos, because through this artificial cycle they get fed souls through a funnel. Not exactly ideal, but better than an all-out war, because as we learned in the past, the Void just straight out invaded the Shadowlands as well as the Light. So in this case they might even get the entire Death realm destroyed. So it's better to have this artificial peace where they just get fed a little bit of souls, but it's peace at least. It is likely that parts of Death, the Titans, and potentially the Light as well, created some sort of a pact to imprison Azeroth and maintain this, while the others might have been wanting to actually destroy this mechanism so that chaos can ensue everywhere. Now, what Azeroth is super hard to say, but some theories say that she could actually be a first one or one of the first ones, the creators of all these beings that have been imprisoned by them, which is why Azeroth is so incredibly powerful, and also why life on Azeroth is just so ridiculously powerful, why we've been able to defeat everyone that attacked us. I know this is definitely a bit of an unhinged speculation, as we don't really have all that much to work with, but I think this is all 100% related to this vast conspiracy that Chris Metzen said is going to be uncovered. Keep in mind, this is a universe-wide conspiracy that everyone is in except for us. Jailer knew what was up, Zealotet knew what was up, Sargeras knew, Titans knew, everyone except us that are just kinda caught in the middle of this. What I'm almost entirely certain though is that Azeroth is not actually a baby, especially not a baby Titan, but it is inside of a prison, very likely a Titan prison, influenced by other cosmological forces. I think everyone is kind of fighting for themselves, and we are just the ones that are caught in the middle, just learning all this stuff. However, based on what we know right now, this really does seem like a super crazy conspiracy and might be one of the most interesting lore in really the past decade if they do it right. Thank you for watching. Check out Why is the Night Elven Capital a Horde City by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on ancient Greek colonies in Spain by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.